Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Dennis and Michelle Rena. Trust and betrayal in the workplace. Building effective relationships in your organization. You walk into the meeting, ready to present your ideas, but the moment you start talking, your manager cuts you off. Later, you hear that a colleague took credit for something you worked hard on. At first, these things seem small, just part of office life. But over time, they build up, leaving you feeling undervalued and hesitant to trust the people around you. Workplace trust is fragile. It's not just broken by major betrayals like dishonesty or manipulation, but also by the everyday interactions that quietly chip away at confidence and collaboration. A missed deadline, an unanswered email, a dismissive comment. These small breaches add up, creating tension and making it harder for teams to function smoothly. Without trust, teamwork suffers, communication breaks down, and motivation fades. The good news? Trust can be rebuilt. It's not just a personality trait or something that exists by chance. It's a skill we can all develop. Whether you're a leader trying to create a more supportive culture or an employee navigating difficult work relationships, you can take practical steps to strengthen trust and foster genuine connections. How? That's exactly what you'll find out in this blink. Little unnoticed actions erode trust in the workplace. Trust in the workplace isn't just about the big stuff like outright lying or sabotage. It's also about the small moments that happen every day. Imagine your colleague Fred consistently missing deadlines, or Kelly getting shut down when delivering tough feedback. Maybe Anna rolls her eyes during meetings, or Tony cancels again at the last minute. These might not sound like deal breakers, but over time they add up, chipping away at the trust within a team. These everyday interactions, minor slip-ups, and misunderstandings can unintentionally undermine trust more than the obvious breaches. We rarely intend to erode trust or hurt colleagues, but in the hustle of tight deadlines and high stakes, it happens more often than we might think. Small actions accumulate, weaving a story in our minds of not being valued or supported, eventually feeling less like simple letdowns and more like personal betrayals. And once trust starts to wane, everything feels harder. There's less collaboration, more second-guessing, and a general drag on energy and enthusiasm. In an environment where trust is compromised, people pull back and contribute less. Trust greases the wheels of a functional workplace. Without it, everything starts to grind. Like so many forms of dysfunctionality, recognizing these problematic patterns is the first step toward change. Of course, restoring trust isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and a genuine commitment to understanding and addressing the concerns of those around you. In practice, that means a whole lot of active listening, empathy, and transparency about your actions and intentions. Think of trust like a garden. It needs regular tending. Avoiding the weeds of misunderstanding and nurturing the soil of communication can help rebuild a healthy, thriving environment where everyone feels valued and understood. This isn't just about making a nicer place to work. It's about creating a strong, resilient organization where people can do their best work, where innovation and creativity are not just encouraged but flourished. The task may seem daunting, but the rewards of a trust-rich workplace are immense. It leads to better teamwork, higher morale, and ultimately superior performance. By paying attention to the small things, by caring genuinely about the impacts of our actions, we can start to mend fences and rebuild the trust that's so essential to a harmonious work environment. We strain trust when we fail to provide others with the tools they need to succeed. Trust isn't about big, dramatic gestures. It's about consistency. When actions match words, people feel secure, and collaboration becomes natural. But when expectations are unclear or unmet, things start to break down. Misunderstandings creep in, frustration builds, and relationships suffer. Over time, small disappointments can create big problems. In the workplace, managing expectations is key to maintaining trust. That means setting clear goals for others, understanding what's expected of you, and making sure those expectations are realistic. When everyone is aligned, teams function smoothly. When they aren't, things can unravel fast. A manager might set a deadline without checking if the team has the resources to meet it. A colleague might assume they've communicated something clearly, only to realize too late that no one understood. These missteps, repeated over time, take a toll on morale. As we've seen, most of the time trust breaks down unintentionally. Maybe a goal was never clearly defined, or someone didn't realize more support was needed. Perhaps expectations changed, but weren't communicated properly. If you constantly chase down missing information, wait on delayed deadlines, or see others take credit for your work, confidence in your team erodes. And once doubt sets in, productivity takes a hit. The solution? Clarity. Be upfront about what you need, ask when things aren't clear, and make sure everyone understands their role. A quick check-in before starting a project can prevent major headaches later. Instead of assuming someone knows what you expect, say it outright. If a deadline isn't realistic, speak up before it's too late. Taking a few minutes to clarify expectations can save hours of stress down the line. Checking in regularly helps too. Are expectations being met? Could anything be clearer? Often, what you expect from others is exactly what they expect from you. If you're reliable, communicative, and proactive, chances are others will follow suit. The more effort you put into setting clear expectations and following through, the stronger your work relationships will be. At the end of the day, trust is about reliability. When people know they can count on you, teamwork becomes easier, challenges are tackled more smoothly, and work feels more rewarding. Communication makes or breaks a team. Have you ever been in a meeting where half the team seems to know something you don't? Or found out about a big change at work after it already happened? Frustrating, right? That's what happens when communication breaks down. People feel left out, trust starts slipping, and suddenly, everyone's second-guessing each other instead of focusing on the work. Here's the thing, good communication isn't just about passing along facts. It's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable speaking up, sharing what they know, and asking questions without hesitation. So how do you make sure communication stays open and honest? Start by asking yourself, do I share information freely or only on a need-to-know basis? Are my colleagues open with me, or do they hold things back? Too often, we assume others don't need details when, in reality, those missing pieces could make a big difference. Imagine your manager announces a big change in project deadlines but doesn't explain why. The team is scrambling, stressed, and making assumptions. Are we behind schedule? Did something go wrong? Should we be worried? A simple explanation like, the client made a last-minute request and we're adjusting to meet it, could have kept everyone calm and focused. Instead, the lack of clarity fuels unnecessary anxiety. Or take another example. Lisa is working on a presentation for a client, but the sales team hasn't given her the latest numbers. She assumes they're the same as last quarter. When she presents, the client points out the mistake, and suddenly the whole team looks unprepared. Not because Lisa wasn't capable, but because critical information didn't reach her in time. The speed of work today means information needs to flow smoothly. Delays, miscommunications, and silos create frustration and slow everything down. When people aren't kept in the loop, especially during big changes, they start to feel excluded, and that's when trust erodes. It's not always intentional, but the impact is real. On the flip side, when communication is clear, people feel confident in their roles. They know what's going on, can make better decisions, and don't waste energy trying to fill in the gaps. Teams that prioritize open dialogue work more efficiently, adapt to changes more easily, and ultimately perform better. The key takeaway? Keep information moving, be transparent, ask questions. Make sure your team has what they need to do their best work. When communication flows, trust follows. And that's what keeps a workplace running smoothly. Showing appreciation to your colleagues strengthens their trust in their own abilities. If you've ever had a boss who micromanaged every little thing, you probably know all about the frustration that comes from second-guessing yourself. A colleague's doubt in your abilities doesn't just slow things down, it kills motivation. When someone trusts you, by contrast, everything's different. You feel valued, confident, and inspired to do your best work. Building strong, capable teams starts with recognizing what each person brings to the table. The key isn't handing out compliments or saying "great job" all the time. It's about showing, through your actions, that you believe in your co-workers and their abilities. When you let people take ownership of their work, giving them space to solve problems in their own way, you're boosting their confidence as individuals and strengthening the entire team. Think about it. If a manager constantly hovers over team members, checking every tiny detail, it sends a message that they don't trust their employees to get the job done. And what happens? People play it safe. They stop taking initiative. They do the bare minimum. But when leaders give their teams autonomy, people step up. They take responsibility. They grow. It's not just managers who have this power either. Everyone does. When you show appreciation for a colleague's contributions, offer support when they need it, and trust them to handle their responsibilities, you help create a workplace where people actually want to be. This doesn't mean turning a blind eye to mistakes, but it does mean recognizing effort, encouraging growth, and offering help instead of criticism. Of course, doubt creeps in sometimes. Maybe you worry that a teammate really isn't up for a task, or that you'll struggle with something new. That's normal. The key is to communicate. If you're feeling unsure, ask questions. If a colleague is struggling, check in with them. Trust doesn't mean assuming everything will always go perfectly. It means believing that together you can figure it out. Remember though, when people feel supported, they work harder. They take ownership of their roles. They contribute more. And as they grow, so do the opportunities for everyone around them. A culture of trust makes work more productive and more enjoyable. So whether you're leading a team or working alongside one, start by giving people the space and confidence to do their best. You'll be surprised at what happens next. Your reaction is your choice, even when others' actions aren't. We've all been there. Someone breaks a promise, lets you down, or does something that makes you question everything. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. Either way, it hurts. And once that trust is shaken, it can feel like there's no way back. But here's the thing, you might not control what happened, but you do control what happens next. Think of it like standing at a crossroads. One path leads to frustration, resentment, and second-guessing everyone around you. The other leads to healing, perspective, and maybe even a stronger relationship than before. Which way do you want to go? If you choose that second, and you really should, the first step is to acknowledge what you're feeling. Hurt, anger, disappointment, whatever it is, it's valid. Ignoring it or pretending it doesn't matter won't help. Instead, find a way to process it. That could mean taking a walk, writing in a journal, venting to someone you trust. Whatever helps you work through the emotions instead of burying them. Then, let go of the guilt. Maybe you're beating yourself up for trusting the wrong person. Maybe you're stuck replaying the situation over and over, wondering what you could have done differently. That cycle doesn't serve you. Feeling emotions is necessary. Staying stuck in them isn't. Next, try to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing the betrayal as just a painful experience, look at what you can take from it. What did it teach you? How can it make you stronger or more aware moving forward? This isn't about excusing what happened, it's about not letting it define you. Finally, take ownership of your response. That doesn't mean blaming yourself for someone else's actions, but it does mean looking at how you want to move forward. If trust was broken, how can you rebuild it? Or decide that it's time to move on? The key is choosing a response that aligns with who you want to be, rather than reacting purely out of hurt. Rebuilding trust isn't instant, it's a process. But every time you take a step toward understanding, communication, and self-reflection, you're reclaiming your power. And whether you're repairing a relationship or simply learning for the future, that's a step worth taking. In this Blink to Trust and Betrayal in the Workplace by Dennis and Michelle Rayner, you've learned that rebuilding trust isn't about grand gestures, it's about everyday actions. Missed deadlines, unclear expectations, and lack of follow-through all quietly erode relationships. Trust, on the other hand, grows when people listen, communicate openly, and show appreciation. Acknowledging mistakes, setting clear expectations, and valuing others' contributions strengthen teams, making collaboration smoother and more productive. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.